Generally, I can't do that by myself, but sometimes I've had to do it here in Greenland, do it alone, because we don't have enough nurses. It's just out of necessity. That is what you have to do sometimes, do things that are outside of your job description.
Understand. Anne, I guess as a doctor that all does sound like quite a responsibility, doesn't it? But I guess these are issues that healthcare workers in any isolated community might face in lots of parts of the world.
Yes, and I mean, Marnie's trip sounds absolutely fascinating, but the idea of having to wait for a plane to come, especially if you've got acute appendicitis or you're in the middle of giving birth to a very large baby, it's really scary. And as you say, if you only have one person on the ground, like Rosa, who's dealing with everything, I mean, even if she were a completely qualified GP, it would be very nerve-wracking, wouldn't it? And I was lucky enough to go to Nepal once, ostensibly to mentor some healthcare workers, but I mean, I came away, I didn't feel I had anything to teach them, and I learnt so much from them. And what I learnt was exactly what you were saying, Manu. It's about the way people single-handedly manage risk. The penicillin was a really good example, because healthcare workers gave penicillin quite often intramuscularly and didn't know if somebody would be allergic or not. They had a little bit of adrenaline there, just in case, but they didn't have a defibrillator in case the person went into anaphylactic shock. They had been given one by a charity, but during the earthquake, the defibrillator had got smashed and they'd never been replaced.
Oh dear. And Marnie, this must be quite... Some of these situations must be quite scary for the people who live there. And I know you talked to some farmers, for example, but what happens, say, when people do need to give birth?
Well, yeah, Anne was just mentioning giving birth, and that was the one that I was wondering about. And I spoke to these farmers on the other side of the fjord, so even more remote from where I was. And they said that apparently the rules had changed. So in the past, you'd have to go to the nearest town, which was this